Okay, live season premiere of the box score. Let's do this.
Hey, can we talk for a second?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So, as you know, season after season, we strive to make the box score the best show that it can be.
Of course.
So we've been talking to a few other shows and we've made a trade.
What?
We've acquired Colin Cowherd.
Oh, wow. Wait, so am I the new host of The Herd?
Not exactly. The Herd only accepted your contract if they could put you on waivers immediately.
Is that even possible?
You may want to answer that.
No! Welcome to the live season premiere of The Box Score. I'm your host, Brian Danuff. A lot has happened since our last episode. Giancarlo Stanton is a New York Yankee, Dwayne Wade is back in Miami, Louisville was stripped of their 2013 national championship, and Tom Brady now has 6 rings. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Tom Brady still has only 5 rings because his head coach, Bill Belichick, single-handedly cost the New England Patriots the Super Bowl. That's right. I'm going there. I usually try to be more nuanced with my sports arguments, especially when it comes to football. It's such a team sport, and if you claim a single player or play cost a team a game, you're likely forgetting about an injury or missed tackle or failure to convert on third down. I searched far and wide for other reasons why the Patriots lost Super Bowl 52, but time and time again, I came up with nothing. Benching All-Pro cornerback Malcolm Butler just minutes before kickoff and never putting him in the game is one of the worst coaching decisions I've ever seen. And before I begin, I'm no Belichick hater. What he's built in New England over the last 2 decades is truly something to marvel at. But that's what makes this so confusing. Why would Belichick bench his best defensive player and continue to sit him while backup quarterback Nick Foles tore apart the Pats secondary? Oh, but Brian, Butler missed a curfew. Come on. That's a great excuse to bench a player in Week 2, but not in the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of the season, and all hands should be on deck. Unless Butler literally killed someone, he should have been playing. And even if he did kill someone, we know that hasn't stopped a Patriot from playing in the Super Bowl before. I don't even think Belichick benching Butler was his worst offense of the night. It's what he said post-game.
We put the players out there and the game plan out there that we thought would be the best tonight, like we always do.
Come on, Coach. Did you really put the best players in the field? And hey, credit to the Super Bowl champs. The Eagles played a hell of a game on both sides. But Nick Foles was only able to march down the field the way he did because the Patriots lacked the straw that stirs their defensive drink. Multiple players even admitted how unprepared and thrown off they were by Butler's benching. If benching Butler was really a football decision, Belichick should have made another football decision and put him in the game when he saw Alshon Jeffrey running circles around Eric Rowe. Belichick received plenty of criticism immediately following the game, but it seems like most people have already moved on. Sure, Belichick is a Hall of Famer. New Englanders weren't exactly starving for a championship, and when all is said and done, this will likely be just a blip on the radar for the Patriots. But Belichick benching Butler is something I just can't wrap my head around. If Butler's in the game, it's safe to assume Foles would have been less tempted to make deep throw after deep throw. Take away just one of the Eagles' numerous big gains downfield, and it might have been enough to not only give Tom Brady his 6th ring, but to keep the Eagles championshipless, something as a New York Giants fan I would have appreciated. Speaking of Nick Foles, despite winning the Super Bowl, the quarterback's future in Philadelphia is up in the air, with Carson Wentz expected to make a full recovery from a torn ACL. Tyler Meshgori has more.
Backup quarterback Nick Foles led the Philadelphia Eagles to their first Super Bowl win in franchise history after delivering an epic offensive performance against the New England Patriots. He was the ultimate underdog, and he showed that he is the embodiment of the term any given Sunday. However, in all likelihood, Foles won't be on the Eagles next season for a few reasons. Despite tearing his ACL, former MVP frontrunner Carson Wentz's rehab is reportedly going very well. If the Eagles feel confident he can pick up where he left off last season with no setbacks, then Foles is more valuable as a trade piece than a player on the roster. This is because Foles' stock is at an all-time high. Foles just led the Eagles to one of the most unexpected Super Bowl wins in recent memory, and in doing so grabbed a lot of attention. Quarterback-needy teams could offer early round draft picks, a valuable asset for the Eagles, especially since the only pick they have in the top 100 is the 32nd overall. This is also supposed to be a rough offseason for the Eagles, where they have 14 contracts expiring and are currently $9 million over the cap. Turning Foles into a set of draft picks gives the Eagles more flexibility for filling holes that might be created after free agency. The reason it makes sense to trade Foles as soon as possible is a contract clause that would void his contract if he was on the Eagles roster at the end of the 2018 season. If this happened, Foles would walk away and the Eagles would get nothing for him. This rule does not apply for any other roster, so if Foles is on any other team in the league at the end of the 2018 season, his contract becomes an additional 3 years for $5.5 million a year, providing long-term, incredibly affordable stability at the position for a team that wants him. Most signs point to the Eagles shipping off Foles, giving him a chance at a starting gig while also bolstering their roster. However, it is important to consider that Foles came in and had one of the greatest postseasons for a quarterback in NFL history. The Eagles should absolutely entertain offers for Foles, but having a backup quarterback like Foles is a luxury that doesn't come around often. In a league where anything is possible and injuries can happen at any time, having a QB like Foles on the roster is life insurance for the position. There is also no guarantee that Wentz will be ready in time for the season to start. Keeping Foles could help them ease Wentz back into the starting role instead of forcing him to come in when he may not be completely healthy. This also gives Foles a chance to show that his magical postseason wasn't a fluke, and that he is capable of being a starter again in the league. So, it begs the question, what happens next for Nick Foles and the Eagles? I guess we'll find out in March.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but don't touch that remote. Don't close that tab. Because when we return, we'll discuss the NHL trade deadline, and later on, our very own John Newton challenged Emerson basketball star Geoff Gray to a one-on-one, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Emersonians. I'm Peyton Lewis, the host of the Evvy-nominated and Evvy-losing show, Common Agenda. Last season, we may have had a midlife crisis, but this summer we really found ourselves. After some deep soul-searching and some long nights mourning our defeat, we're back here for another season of the saltiest content and shenanigans on the Emerson channel. This season, we'll dive deep into Emerson's favorite subcultures, film bros, hipsters, and other white boys with brown hair. Turn us on Monday evenings at 8:30 on the Emerson channel.
Guys, I cannot have any more ramen.
Yeah, this food is really disgusting.
These are herbal cough drops.
Well, they're better than nothing.
I have some fruit if you guys want.
Those are Skittles.
Just trying my best.
Well, maybe we can just go to the DH?
What?
Oh my god, that stuff is prison food.
Well, do you have any other ideas?
Well, I'm like starving, so like we have to do something.
Did someone say something? Hi kids, Kitchen Man here. Do you know you can tune into Emerson Channel College Kitchen for great dorm-friendly, budget-friendly recipes?
Okay, but like what if I need to go out to brunch with my girls?
Try Taste of Boston, where we profile great local restaurants in the Boston area.
What if I only want to eat competitive chef's food?
Tune in to Sliced, our brand new competitive cooking show.
I want to watch College Kitchen.
But wait! We are College Kitchen!
Welcome back to the live season premiere of The Box Score. I'm now joined by my buddies Jacob Fortgang and Paul Ross to discuss the NHL trade deadline, which is this coming Monday and could redefine the league for years to come. Guys, there are 4 teams who are looking to be extremely active at the deadline. Let's start with the dumpster fire in Madison Square Garden, otherwise known as my New York Rangers.
So I know I'm not supposed to have bias, but I'm sure my dad's watching this, and he would kill me if I didn't let you know that I'm a huge Rangers fan.
Same.
But it seems like anyone can go.
Yeah.
It's a yard sale. Anyone but Henrik Lundqvist is really on the move, whether that's Matt Zuccarello, Ryan McDonough. Obviously, Nick Holden was just traded right around the corner to TD Garden for the Boston Bruins.
Yep.
So if you go and look at why these players are available, well, Ryan McDonough is a very good defenseman. He's very good defensively as well as offensively, and he can provide a lot for any team that really wants him. So there'll be a heavy price for Ryan McDonough, but it's something that the Rangers really want.
So are the Rangers looking, though, is this a complete, total blowing everything up? Because Henrik Lundqvist isn't going to be in goal forever. I mean, they're kind of saying they probably won't ever win a Stanley Cup with Lundqvist in goal.
Right, yeah, they're definitely going to blow up the team. I mean, they sent out a letter to their fans on February 8th saying that, hey, we didn't reach our goal, which is to win a Stanley Cup, and some guys that you might know and love will have to be dealt. Rick Nash is one of those other players. Rick Nash is maybe the biggest name out there in the trade deadline. He's a big winger who can skate well. He's got a big cap hit, but he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So that's something for any playoff team that's looking for a nice rental. Rick Nash can definitely do that. He can provide 20, 25, maybe even 30 goals. You also have someone like Matt Zuccarello, really good on the power play. And then you have Michael Grabner. Michael Grabner is a really fast skater. He's got a really cheap contract. And if he performs well for your playoff team, he might come back the next season.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything the Rangers are looking to get back specifically? Anything in value? Any certain picks, certain players?
Young talent. They want young talent. It's for the next 5 years. You go back to 2004, and that was a team that brought in a bunch of older guys and tried to, scavenge the last couple years of their career. And they're learning from their mistakes, and they're going to go and they're going to get those young talent that they need.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see what our blue shirts end up doing. But anyway, moving on, another team is the Edmonton Oilers.
Sure.
This is a fascinating team because last year, as you guys mentioned before we went on air, one win away from the Western Conference Finals. And here they are now with Connor McDavid, with that same core, and it's just not working. So they're going to clean house again.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about the Edmonton Oilers is they have the all-time worst home penalty kill percentage. They've started recording this stat 40 years ago, and no team has been as bad as the Edmonton Oilers at home killing penalties. It's something that I don't really understand. I don't think anyone who knows the sport really understands. But the Oilers are not the team that they were last season. They have a lot of players that they can deal and that teams would be interested in. One of those players, Patrick Maroon. Patrick Maroon is a big winger. He can provide some scoring, and he would help out in your top 6, maybe even top 9 on a really good playoff team. Someone else like Mark Letestu. Letestu can help out in your bottom 6. He's actually good at killing penalties, but somehow not for the Oilers. And he can help out a team with depth. And another guy like Oscar Klefbom. He's a defenseman who the Oilers are not really shopping, but he can bring a lot back as he's someone who's very young and he has some talent.
But you said it best, Brian. They have Connor McDavid.
They do.
He's a generational talent. That's somebody who you build around. And they brought some older guys in, like Lucic, like Maroon, but they're realizing that it's not going to work. And they're going to break it down. They're going to look to the future. And I think they got a lot of tokens that they can really hand out and get a lot of stuff back. So.
And they have these pieces, like they have some young players like Kyler Yamamoto and Jesse Puljujarvi, who are pretty good players, who are not on their team right now and who can help them out next season. But Connor McDavid needs someone else to help him on the wings. He's not been ever surrounded by really good players as they've been dealt by Peter Chiarelli to other teams in the Eastern Conference, and that's something that Oilers fans are not happy about. But, they could easily get back in the playoffs next year.
Sure. Well, going from a team that might get back in the playoffs next year to a team that is back to the bottom of the league, Arizona Coyotes, another team looking to just blow everything up. This is an explosive NHL trade deadline because all these teams are just getting blown to pieces.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Arizona was not expecting this season. They went out in the summer and they made a big trade with the New York Rangers, bringing in Derek Stepan and bringing in Antti Ranta, and they expected to have a good goalie and number 1 center, and it just hasn't turned out great for them.
I wonder how Stepan feels knowing he's already lost the Stanley Cup. Normally doesn't find out till like mid-May. It's kind of interesting. But,
and if you go and look at Arizona, they expect maybe to make the playoffs this year, although they have some promising pieces. Clayton Keller is a young center who is fantastic. I mean, he can really help out the Coyotes in the future. But they have some pieces that they can deal. Like today, they actually made a trade. They traded Tobias Reeder, who is a depth winger, to the Los Angeles Kings, along with backup goaltender Scott Wedgwood, And in return, they got back Darcy Kemper. Darcy Kemper's a backup goaltender who will help out Ranta. He's huge. He's 6'5", and he can really help them out. They're looking for a 1-2 punch in goal. Yeah. Also, their big piece, their big fish, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, their general manager does not want to trade him.
Yeah, no.
They're not listening to offers, but I think it would be smart for John Chayka, the general manager, to trade Oliver Ekman-Larsson to get the biggest return possible.
Right.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson is a fantastic defenseman. He's one of the top 5 best defensemen in the league, and you can get back a ton of players, ton of draft picks, ton of prospects.
Yeah, well, just wanted to touch on one more team real quick, the Ottawa Senators. And I mean, all the rumors surrounding Erik Karlsson, it's I don't know. What's the latest on that front, guys?
That's earlier this year, the unwritten rule of hockey was broken, and Drew Daddy kind of broke the silence and said, we expect to be paid more than PK, speaking about him and Erik Karlsson.
Right.
And that's something that the Ottawa Senators have to take in consideration. They came into the front office came down to the locker room and they explained to the players, give me your list, tell me who you don't want to be traded to, and no one is safe. And that's how they should approach this deadline. They've kind of came back on their word and said they want to keep Karlsson, but Karlsson's expected to make upwards of $10 million a year.
Yeah, right now, Erik Karlsson, he's under contract until next season, so in the 2019 offseason, he's available.
Right.
He's making $6.5 million a year, which is pretty nice. He's expected to make over $9, maybe $10 million, as you said. The only player that Ottawa really does not want to trade, and I'm not including Karlsson here, because of late, teams have expressed their interest in Erik Karlsson, and Erik Karlsson sent in a 10-team I do not want to be traded list.
Wow.
That's part of his contract. So 20 teams, because Vegas is now the 31st team, are looking at Erik Karlsson and saying, hey, what about this?
Right.
Mark Stone. Mark Stone is a winger who's very good. He's not going to get traded from Ottawa. Mike Hoffman, he's a winger who can score about 30 goals, can be dealt to a team and can get a really nice package in return. Another one of those, former New York Ranger. Derek Brassard. Derek Brassard can easily get a prospect, maybe a second-round pick, and maybe a roster player in return, although Ottawa's asking for more. Not sure why, but Brassard's a good player.
I absolutely wouldn't be surprised, and I know it's going to be painful for you as painful as
Don't
for me.
say it.
But the Pittsburgh Penguins are looking at him, trying to hook him back up with Carl Hagelin, and I could definitely see that
I already had enough trouble watching Hagelin win with the Penguins.
Me too.
But anyway, guys, thanks so much for being here. You guys
Thank you,
are
Brian.
clearly the hockey experts for the box score. I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
So now for a look at who's hot and who's not, here is Ryan Ribeiro. Ryan?
Thanks, Brian. Well, how about Eric Hosmer for someone who's hot right now? The former Kansas City Royals first baseman has finally found a home after signing an 8-year, $144 million deal with the San Diego Padres on Saturday. The move likely sends former Rookie of the Year, but struggling Will Myers back to the outfield. It's an interesting move for the Padres, as these big money moves have clearly worked out for them before. Remember Matt Kemp and Justin Upton and James Shields? Well, yikes. But maybe this time will be different. Unfortunately, it appears the NBA dunk contest has gone back to its old ways. The dunk contest experienced a revival in the past few years with the likes of Zach LaVine, Glenn Robinson III, and Aaron Gordon putting on a show that had not been seen since Dwight Superman Howard and Nate Robinson. We unfortunately reverted back to the days of wearing a mask and doing an average, everyday dunk like Victor Oladipo attempted with Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther mask. While winner Donovan Mitchell paid tribute to vintage Vince Carter in his final contest-winning dunk, he also received a perfect score of 50 for dunking over a crouching Kevin Hart and his son, which doesn't seem to be that hard of a feat, even if Hart was standing up. Over to the NFL, and a name every franchise desperate for a quarterback seems to now be talking about. Possibly the most coveted backup quarterback in football, A.J. McCarron will finally hit the open market after winning his grievance over the Cincinnati Bengals. The core of McCarron's case was the fact that he did not believe he should have spent the entirety of his rookie year on the non-football injury list. Now, the former national champion will become an unrestricted free agent and become a popular option for teams like the Cleveland Browns, of course, the New York Jets, and the Minnesota Vikings if they decide to move on from Case Keenum this offseason. After failing to pull the trigger on a trade for McCarron this past year, this could be a second chance for the Browns without having to give up a first-round pick this time around. Then again, this is Cleveland we're talking about. Now let's head over to the burning dumpster fire that is the New York Mets. After a semi-busy offseason for New York that resulted in bringing back outfielder Jay Bruce, agonized bullpen arm in Anthony Swarzak, and veteran third baseman Todd Frazier, the last player anyone wants to hear about is Tim Tebow. And right on cue, that is exactly who Mets general manager Sandy Alderson discussed on Sunday morning during a press conference. Alderson said that after a year and a half of training, it is, quote, a modest expectation that Tebow will make it to the major leagues after his commitment to improving. So the former Heisman Trophy winner, who batted .226 in single A last year, has somehow shown enough improvement to challenge the likes of Yoenis Cespedes, Michael Conforto, Jay Bruce, Brandon Nimmo, and Juan Lagares for an outfield spot on the major league roster. Then again, if the Mets have another 70-win season, maybe the Wilpons and Alderson will be so desperate to sell tickets that they'll start the Tim Tebow circus as soon as this summer. That's all for Who's Hot and Who's Not. Back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Ryan. When we return, we'll turn our attention to the NBA. Our guys will debate the favorites in the Eastern Conference. And does the box score's athlete-in-residence John Newton have what it takes to take down Emerson College basketball star Geoff Gray? Finally find out when the live season premiere of the box score returns.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kinigsberg, host of EIV's The Dish. Tune in every Friday for your chance to see what kind of bow tie I pulled out of my closet today.
Maggie, did you pick up the script?
No, that was your job.
Maggie, oh my God, I do it every week.
No,
I told you this is the one
but we
week I
talked
didn't
about
want
this.
responsibility.
Okay, I need to pick my wedgie.
Oh my God, look, they got us slushies. Freeze. Oh my God, we're here.
He's queer.
Now get used to it. Come on, give me my mic. Mic me. Hi, I'm Christian Mudrick.
And I'm Maggie Morlatt.
And you're watching Real Reactions.
On the Emerson channel.
Welcome back to the live season premiere of the box score. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. Our very own John Newton took on Emerson College basketball star Geoff Gray in a one-on-one for the ages, and we have the highlights. Roll the tape.
Welcome to round one of John versus. I'm John Newton, and I peaked in high school on the hardwood, but this is Geoff Gray, who just dropped 47 against the defending national champs, Babson. Want to play some 1v1?
I'm ready, John. You ready to lose?
Yeah, it might be that time. Geoff Gray's our guest today. We're going to let him get first possession. Let him start out with the rock.
And here we go, getting set for the start of this one, Geoff Gray versus John Newton.
Yes, and Geoff Gray is a member of the Emerson men's basketball team, while John Newton is not.
Hits the three there, but John takes the lead here and is going to drive to the net. Not bad for a kid nicknamed String Bean.
Did you know that string beans are the national fruit of basketball?
That they are, Richard, that they are. And John is going to put home the game point and take game one.
Don't lie, check the scoreboard.
Don't do it.
Tom Ford. Tom Ford. Let me tell you, boy, this man came out here and he thought it would be easy. But it's not easy playing me! He took me too lightly! He wasn't ready for the work! He was not ready for this! He didn't know I had all these tricks and whatnot.
Figured to let John win one, build his confidence just so I'd feel better when I embarrassed in the last couple games.
Pretender.
He's a pretender. He ain't no contender. I don't care if he's in a 1,000-point club, 2,000-point club. He's not in the dub club, I'll tell you what.
We'll see if John's cockiness carries over into game two.
Fun fact about John Newton, did you know that he was born with 3 hands?
He apparently also loves to miss threes there. What an ugly shot.
Yes, Geoff's coming in hot this game after losing that first one.
And this one, oh my goodness.
He didn't even have to move his feet there. Speaking of feet, did you know John Newton was born with 3 feet?
All right, Richard.
Not worried. Not worried. Pretty confident. I think we all saw what I can do with game 1.
It's always easy beating a chump like John, but I got hot, and I started feeling it, and I knew he couldn't guard me, so I was never worried.
Ball on wide.
Let's see if John Newton can take down Geoff Gray here in Game 3. And oh no, oh my.
It appears the scorekeeper has decided to take away 1 point.
And he definitely deserves it there. That is just hideous. I feel embarrassed for the box score.
Oh my god. Oh, he take away more points, please.
Let's see if Geoff can hit that 3. He does.
Wow. Speaking of 3-pointers, did you know that John Newton was born with 3 heads?
Okay, Richard, we're going to have to talk a little later, but John makes the 3 there, and why won't he lose? Come on, Geoff. Please. Thank you.
This man must have a lucky horseshoe or something. Like, he's blessed. Like, this man is blessed. He got a guardian angel or something. Like, I don't know how this happened. Like,
rematch, I mean, he really wants it, but it don't matter. It's going to be a waste of my time. I'm just going to win again.
Oh, rematch? Oh, he don't want this rematch? He don't want the work? He don't want to go best of 7 with me? I'm an endurance athlete. You know I can go 12 rounds. Oh, what's up, Geoff? What's good? We good, homie? How you been? No? What's up? What's up? I thought we were boys. I thought we were boys. What's...
Thanks, Geoff. And John, man. Brutal. Anyway, it's good to have you back in studio where you belong, as well as Jack Elmer and Tyler Mishkori. Guys, we already know the Warriors are coming out of the West again, especially because Kawhi Leonard's out for the season with the Spurs. But over in the East, it's a little more interesting, I'd say. Ever since Extreme Makeover Cavs edition and a lack of moves by the Celtics and Raptors, it appears LeBron is on a path of minimal resistance to his 8th straight NBA Finals appearance. What say you guys? Does the Celtics and Raptors have any chance of taking down the Cavs?
Well, first of all, I think San Antonio needs to sign this guy right here to help him out. He'll replace Kawhi.
That's great.
But
That'd be nice.
Secondly, you talk about a lack of moves that the Celtics made. They did bring in Greg Monroe, and that really shouldn't be understated. Yeah. Monroe's only played a couple games with Boston, but already you're seeing the spacing that he creates with fellow backcourt mates like Daniel Tice. The fact that he's just on the court so far has already opened up other opportunities for his fellow second-unit teammates. And that's going to go a long way, especially when you pair Marcus Morris and Terry Rozier in there. It means more open looks for everybody. And Monroe has showed that he's a 10-8 guy in his time with Phoenix. He can do that for Boston. And their bench is going to be a lot better. And I think overall, this is a Celtics team that's going to move on from the slump that they're in right now.
This is a Celtics team that's going to beat the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals?
They're going to challenge the Cavs. They're going to challenge the Cavs.
Okay.
They're going to challenge the Cavs.
Got it.
Cleveland, I mean, LeBron just has a different mode when you go to the playoffs. He's just on another level.
John, let's hear it.
To your credit, though, Greg Monroe, a better addition than Aaron Baines. Very nice.
Absolutely.
But Brian said it best, the Extreme Makeover Cleveland edition. They not just rebuilt, they got younger.
Yeah.
And especially when you have someone who's in his prime, like LeBron, get rid of guys like D. Wade, right? You get rid of like Derrick Rose, D. Rose, these MVP caliber guys of the past.
Like
and now they're getting younger, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time.
2008 All-Star team right there.
It really is an All-Star team. This team's gonna win the East. LeBron's gonna continue his streak, make it what 7 consecutive finals this year. I'm already putting it on wax.
All right. So you like the Celtics? You like the Cavs? Do I dare say Raptors?
Yes, you should say Raptors.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you should.
All right.
And here's why. They have, coming into the season, they had 2 major holes in their game plan and style, which was a lack of three-point shooting and defense. And what they've done this past offseason is work on getting more three-point shooting. We're seeing DeRozan a lot more efficient from 3 points.
Absolutely.
And they got OG Anunoby in the draft. He's a solid wing defender. Serge Ibaka is also having a great defensive season, as well as the rest of their bench has really stepped up. I mean, Fred Van Fleet and CJ Miles are having ridiculously good seasons coming off the bench, not to mention Norman Powell, Lucas Nogueira, and all of them. And one thing that we kind of overlook about the Raptors is that they're already the first seed in the conference. And I just saw this today. They don't have to leave the Eastern time zone for the rest of the season.
That's pretty nice.
That's
nice.
really
That's
nice.
That's relaxing.
So they're in the driver's seat for the conference right now, and all they have to do is just keep doing what they're doing, and their home record is ridiculously good compared to other teams around the
Tyler,
league.
I'm 100% on board with you. The Toronto Raptors will win the Eastern Conference regular season championship. But we're talking about the
Regular season. We're talking
playoffs.
playoffs here. We're talking playoffs.
Let's take a look. When the Raptors play the Cavs, and recently since LeBron's return to the land, 0-2 against Cleveland, 2-8 in games in the playoffs.
See, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
1-4 in game sixes.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
by the way,
yeah.
Raptors have 0 franchise conference championships and just 1.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere.
If you're gonna do it, don't you think that you would get the first conference championship nod if you had home field advantage throughout the playoffs? It's like you don't. There's not as much fatigue with traveling if you don't have to.
How did that
believe
work
me,
for the
Tyler.
Celtics last year?
Tyler,
how did that work for the Celtics last year?
Well,
Home court advantage against the Cavs. The Cavs just
listen.
I
I really want to believe Tyler, and I like your argument. But when it comes to the Cavs and Celtics, I mean, just what do you think that? Why do they have what it takes to take them down? I don't see the Raptors being in that mix. It's the Cavs and Celtics, and to me, Raptors again. They're number one in the conference, but that doesn't mean much. You saw the Celtics last year, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, number one in the conference doesn't mean much, and the fact that they're only 2 games ahead of the Celtics. So let's keep that in mind here. The only reason that they are there is because of the Celtics just slumped these last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Boston hit 40 games for any other team in the NBA. They're tired. They're leaning on rookies like Jason Tatum, Semi Ojeleye, Jaylen Brown's a sophomore who's starting nearly every game for them.
Do you think they're waiting on Gordon Hayward? Do you think they really expect him to play?
No, I don't think they're waiting on Gordon Hayward. I think the All-Star break is going to really help these guys. They're going to come back rejuvenated. And look, they won 16 games in a row. I know we want to talk about what's happened recently.
October.
I know.
We hadn't even done episode 1 of last season yet. We're winning 16 in a row.
We want to talk about these Sunday couple weeks, but if you want to look at the whole big picture of the Celtics season, I mean, they're in a great position right now. They've shown that they can win. They can win games they have no business in winning because Brad Stevens is a basketball god.
That's fair.
He just is.
No, he is.
He just is.
Tyler, are you going to hang a regular season championship banner or no?
Well, I think you could.
I don't know. He talks about threes. You're a bottom 12 in threes for percentage. But
Yes, I am bottom 12.
No, not him personally. The Raptors.
Bottom 5.
Okay, well,
Bottom 5.
Bottom 5. But if you look
No,
at the
top
rest
5
of
in
the
threes attempted. Bottom 12.
John.
If you look at the rest of the
nice.
roster, the efficiency that they have between their guards like Fred Van Fleet,
Right.
tough to say. Norman Powell, DeRozan, and Lowry, they're all going out there every night. At least 2 of them are dropping 20
Look,
points.
just
talk about playoffs.
Okay.
He has one guy with playoff experience. You know who that is? That's Pascal Siakam. Finals MVP in the G League playoffs. That's their only guy with playoff experience.
You have to
Finals
start
MVP
somewhere.
in the G
Don't you
League.
think
Look,
most
I'm not looking
That's
to
the only
take
advantage you might
basketball advice from a guy who got waxed by Geoff Gray. Just
mean-
not really about that. But anyway, guys, that just about does it for the live season premiere of the Box Score. Before we go, I'd like to dedicate this episode in memory of Scott Beagle, one of the 17 people killed in last week's school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Scott was a mentor and a friend of our buddy Jacob Fortgang and died the way he lived, selflessly. It's easy to feel helpless in times like these, but it's important to remember how we can all make a difference. Donate blood, call your congressman, march. Anything is better than doing nothing. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Beagle family and everyone affected by this senseless act of violence. Thank you again for tuning in. For all of us here at the Box Score, I'm Brian Danuff, and we'll see you next time. Good night.